Now we've got number 4. Number 4 is about connection. When you are in the MRI machine, you will notice that there are 2 distinct sounds. And they're both very loud, which is why they give you the earplugs and the headphones. So if you're listening to music, it's going to compete with those sounds. So that's not ideal. So that's one reason I don't like the music, but it hasn't been an option for me, so it doesn't matter. The sounds are as follows from my experience. Number 1, you hear something that's like a construction zone. It's like jackhammering. It's like a kind of sound, right? And then there's the sound that's like a ka-chunk, 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 which is kind of like a beat. And I associate that one with music, with the sound of this musical sound, like I'm in a discotheque, like I'm dancing in a nightclub. And so when I started to notice that those sounds were pretty consistent, so every time they say you've got 5 minutes or however long that is, and then you'll start to hear a ka-chunk or that sound of construction sound, you'll know that they're in the process of doing it. And what I learned to do is connect those sounds with a positive experience, going into a positive, enjoyable state. So let me give you a couple of examples of that. So because I was noticing the sounds reminded me of being in a nightclub, it took me back to when I used to, in my late teens and into my early 20s, go dancing a lot. That brought me so much joy to be able to do that. And so I would imagine myself dancing. I'd take myself back to that enjoyable time in my life, and I would really feel that physically through my body. It's a mind thing. I'm taking myself there in my mind. So I want you to think about a time in your life, ideally earlier in your life, because the early memories are really wired in. Let me give you an example of why that's true. Is if you think back to a time in your life early on, so it could be all the way up to your teens, where you listened to a song and it brought a happy memory to you. Maybe you heard something over a song on the radio. That music is wired, that memory is wired into our system, and it's about pleasure, enjoyment. And the same is true when we have something that is a physical experience that we enjoy. So if you can think about what that physical experience might be for you, maybe you go back in time to your early days before MS, ideally, because that's where those memories from the early days as well as before MS, we have something, a positive experience around it. So think about that. Maybe it was tennis or swimming or hopscotch. What else could there be? Basketball, or it could be water skiing, or snowshoeing, or skiing, or just even taking a lovely walk near a beautiful stream that's so calm, whatever that might be. It can be just something, you want to equate something physical with it if possible, in this case, because then there's a body memory from it. And then as soon as the sounds kick in from the MRI, you want to take yourself to that place and start re-experiencing it. And the beauty with MRIs now is that technology has advanced so much that what used to be a 45-minute MRI for me, for my brain and my neck, is now only a 15-minute experience. So that is amazing that the time has been shortened in terms of technology. And I'm super happy about that. So when I can take myself back into that state of dancing and hearing the sounds of the machine, it really right away calms my nervous system. It strips away the stress and anxiety, and I'm not thinking about being claustrophobic. I'm thinking about this great experience that I had, and I'm associating it with this sound. So that is step number 4. And Sandy attended this coaching series that I ran called the MS stress release process. And at the end, we did a Q&A and we just had a chat. And she mentioned to me that she was just about to go for an MRI. It was going to be a full MRI, and she was very nervous. So I asked her, what is the thing physically that has been a positive connection for you? And she said swimming. She loved to swim. In fact, she had an up-ground pool presently, and she would swim in that, and that was very relaxing for her. So I recommended to her that she practice that, and then when she went to the MRI, tap into that experience. Unfortunately, she was able to get a more of an open scanner MRI and practice her swimming, or imagine herself swimming. And she said it really made a difference. So pick that physical activity from your past, possibly from your early days before you're 20, where you had a positive experience, associate it with the sound of the MRI and notice what happens. I have not needed to take Ativan since I connected into this state of being.